very much. Shells, do you have any kind of like lead in thoughts to Divine Ascension and Hawkthorne? I know we kind of clicked us off a little bit early because I wanted to get through the rest of the teams. But how are you feeling about tonight?
Well, I think that for one, I have this Ascension Sapphire a little bit differently ranked than everyone else. I had them at 6 because, like I said, strength of schedule. Normally, I'd be someone that says the numbers do not lie, but this is a prove it game. Both teams are 5-1. I think we're all very, very clearly believing that Hawkthorne deserves to be where they are, where they have 1 or 2 here. My eyes are going to be definitely on how Divine Ascension proves whether they belong to be in the conversation with one of the best teams in the league as we do move forward to the midpoint of light. And they have a very good team to make it happen between Premade and Belby. I'm looking for that mid jungle duo here.
Yeah, I am really, really interested to see how actually both teams mid jungle duo works out a lot. You mentioned Pre-Man and Belby. We got a lot of those fighters. I know you like to see with the Echo, the Silas. You mentioned Master Yi when we were talking about the teams. I was really looking forward to see how Heartstock Brother and Arth are able to synergize between their kind of AP AD matchup. They really like kind of swapping things up. Who is really kind of controlling which type of damage palette. So I'm really excited to see kind of mostly the draft. I know biased because we're going to be doing the draft and they're going to be doing the game, but I am really interested to see. And I also like how you mentioned that Divine Ascension here is really trying to put themselves in the conversation of the top three, the top four. I mean, right after we set, or right before, excuse me, we sent off Zephyr and Dunzy. We were talking about the kind of the road to the playoffs and how it really kind of starts here. The first 2 weeks, kind of sussing everybody out, getting used to it playing. But when we almost instantly put Lotus, Hawkthorne as these teams that are they're very comfortably looking towards this playoffs run. If you're running into them right now, especially when they're getting geared up to kind of go for this run, I feel like you really got to have like obviously a win would be ideal, but if not a graceful kind of loss, like a 2-1 where you're really posting up some numbers, you're getting some leads, and maybe there's just a couple macro errors here and there, and it's not really like this kind of big old wash. The thing that I would kind of hate to see. I'm going to just say it now. I do think this is a Hawkthorne win. I think it's probably a 2-1. But I think the thing that I would like to see, or hate to see, that I want to see the least is a 3-0, 20-minute game. Hawkthorne, I mentioned, have these record fast times. I hope they're not posting better records. They're beating their own times in this matchup tonight.
Yeah, you gotta hope that this isn't a speed run, any percent type of feel for these two teams here. But like you mentioned, I also believe it's gonna be a Hawkthorne win. But I want to see if Divine Ascension Sapphire's game plan of these, let's not call them wonky, but let's call them low elo stomper picks of the Fizz, the Master Yi. Let's see if these are strong picks for this degenerates, or for this no, not degenerates, Divine Ascension Sapphire squad, or if they just like playing things that you don't see very often, that you won't see in your scrims. I looked at Premade's op.gg lately. He has been spamming Ornn jungle games. Now
Interesting.
that is wilder than Yi right now. Yi makes sense
Yeah.
in this league, but this man was playing 10 straight Ornn jungle games. I thought he was just
Really?
going off roll top. He was playing Ornn jungle games. So I have to see one, why,
Huh.
two, why, three,
Yeah.
does it work? Let me see what happens in a game when you have actual comms, you've worked on it in your scrims. Show me why you're picking this up in solo queue, and will you bring it up here tonight when you're playing against one of the best teams? Will you bring these cheese strats out, not just against some of the bottom feeders, but against Hawkthorne Esports, whom we have a lot of consensus about how strong this team is so far?
As a longtime StarCraft player and a former competitor, I do have a little bit of qualms with the word cheese. In my mind, if it's a strategy, if it's a plan, and it works out, it's screw on you to your opponent for not getting it right. It's not cheese. It's just well-defined niches in the meta, I like to call them.
It's not cheese, but it's a little stinky. But if it's edible,
All
go
right.
ahead and chew it up and get a win off of it. Look, I'm all for it because this would prove if they're able to get a win on Hawkthorne tonight, then I'll say I can change my thoughts on these picks. Maybe you go to these unorthodox picks. Maybe you decide, okay, our move is playing things that are so unexpected that teams will definitely never have a chance to actually play against these champs in their scrims unless they're playing us. In which case, we could bring out something else. We could just bring out something very conventional, and then against them that week, we play these wild things. You might see a Taric jungle. You might see Bard jungle. Bard jungle. Hey, I won't lie to you. Back in the day, I have been beat by a Bard jungle going. It's crazy. But if they're bringing out Orns and Yees and coming through the Poppy, which is a little bit more conventional.
On the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
It ain't cheese, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that I would find the most interesting is something kind of more along the lines of Master Yi would actually be something more like a Morgana. Because we know or we know from our previous picks that Arth is a big power farmer. He plays these Karthuses, he plays the Diana. It wouldn't actually put the Morgana past him by any means, especially as more and more people are playing it and solo queue and is kind of, coming down the line. And so what I would actually really like to see here is Premade kind of taking the reins almost. Maybe banning out something like the Karthus, banning out something like the Morgana, and taking kind of the flip side, taking a power farmer that's an AP. I would be interested to see if Ornn is actually the answer. Is that he knows he's going against this heavy AP farmer. Maybe this kind of unconventional, excuse me, tank would actually be the answer to it. Of course, you're kind of giving up a lot of priority in your lanes and ganking, but I mean, if you're fighting against a Karthus, there's the level 4 gank, and we're kind of gravy otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a little bit we've been focusing pretty heavily on this jungle matchup and maybe
I
even
like
this mid jungle matchup. And I do too. But we have to remember that for this Hawthorne team, Counters is a huge player. He likes playing these scaling champs, that Jinx, that Vayne, he's very strong on as well. And he does play that Kaisa a little bit too. But Cryptic Wisdom, who is playing the bot lane for Divine Ascension Sapphire, also plays that Jinx, that Triss, that Vayne. So we're looking at these two teams maybe looking to prioritize getting pressure in the bot lane, and that could be where we see these junglers pathing to create that pressure in the bot lane, turn that into objectives, and put the other team on a timer saying, you gotta find a way to come back in this game because I have a 10-minute head start with these two drags, and if you do, then our picks are gonna be scaling regardless, and if you don't, then we just win it out.
We're gonna get in the draft here in a minute, so we'll finally get to see what some of these picks and bans were. You mentioned Counters. I mean, I said this before in our pre-show, but I want to reiterate. I think Counters is one of the best players in the league. Solid, kind of like top 5, top 10, if not the best. I think he's very fantastic. I know Dunzu would probably fight me on this. But I will like to see him on these picks like the Vayne and the Jinx, or at least a ban on them. Show the respect from Divine Ascension. He's got some incredible numbers, some incredible stats on this Vayne, and I really like to see also the pathing because you're right that it's easy to have an extremely skilled ADC gank bot, get him going, get double drakes, and let the ball kind of roll as you will. But the flip side of that, it's a little bit harder. I mean, you need to be aware that as Divine Ascension, that Hawkthorne might be looking bot lane, as you mentioned, just kind of over and over and over again. You're right, you get set on this timer, 15-ish, 17-ish minutes in the game, especially when you start looking at the third Drake and things kind of start falling apart pretty quickly. And as we've seen with Hawkthorne, they can take the ball pretty fast. I mean, 21-11, I think is what I said earlier.
Yeah, it's really tough to go against a team and play scaling versus a team that just wants to speed run the league, right? So you have to think about how can we get advantages early, but also perhaps give us some insurance if the game does go a little bit later, but not to the point where you see sometimes teams will but potentially lose an early game, but then go ahead and pick up like a Cassidon into a bad matchup or like a hard scaler to give them that ultimate insurance. But it's not a strong pick for the champion for the teammate, and it's not really a great pick in the scheme or how you like to play the game. So I definitely want to see Divine Ascension to Sapphire play to their strengths, play not quite comfort, but play things that work for them, and stick to your strat. Stick to what you do. If you do get down early, if you do get down in this series, still see what works for you guys. And I think that you can learn a lot by playing this Hawkthorne Esports team. And we are actually officially starting the draft.
Yeah, we're gonna see what the first bands are coming out in a few minutes. The interesting thing about Divine Ascension, is that they are a self-proclaimed fast and loose team. And I kind of gone over this a little bit in the excuse me, the pre-show, but I kind of want to brief it again that they have these very, very slow team comps and these very slow games. And I think you had kind of touched on it that like sometimes it kind of feels nice to pick the the Azir or the Kassadin or something like that and just sit and scale. But if your Lee Sin is just all inning every 3 seconds, you're not going to be able to back him up. But to catch us up a little bit, we do have the Wukong and Shen ban coming in from Divine Ascension. The Jinx from Hawkthorne Esports. A little bit interesting, no encounters on the Jinx. Their second ban, fourth of the game will be a Poppy. I think you had kind of looked at a Poppy jungle, right?
Poppy jungle is a possibility, but Excellency Malice, not sure if he actually is affiliated with the org, but he has 200 games played in Poppy top, so it might be a target ban up to that solo lane up there. That is a very, very impactful champion, especially into champs that have dashes. And Divine Ascension Sapphire does play champs with dashes. We do get the Yorick ban from Godzilla or from Malice, but we also get the first pick Rumble, a very strong jungler who is just absolutely disgusting. A 30-second cooldown on his ult at level 11, I believe it is.
11.
Or yeah, at 11, and he can ult twice in one fight if it lasts long enough. He is a destructive force on the Rift.
Yeah, he's been absolutely a monster, particularly in pro play. He's been taking over solo queue. Elise is not something that I've seen into this. Very, very interesting. Tristana makes a lot of sense. The rocket jump, a lot of gale forces. You get out of the equalizer. You feel a bit more comfortable. You kind of reset the fight and then take your resets. I'm interested about this Elise, but I do like the Ash. And okay, there's the Ornn.
Hey,
You
hold up.
you
This
said
could
that we were seeing a lot of Ornn in jungle.
this could be a Rumble laner here, and like pre-made might be pulling out the Ornn in the jungle. This really could be it. What's interesting you mentioned about the Elise, I noticed that Elise is actually getting nerfed in this upcoming nerf coming up very soon. I don't know why. She's not very strong now. She's not been strong for a minute, but still a champ that can dive. There is potential there. The set does get picked up for Hawkthorne Esports. I don't mind the set Tristana lane, but I think this is probably going to go more toward our guy Godzilla in that top lane. But as these next few bans do come through, the Garen and the Zoe getting taken away from Divine Ascension Sapphire, and the Silas and Nocturne for Belby getting taken away, or for Heartstruck Brother getting taken away. There's a lot of strong engage, a lot of strong power picks that have been taken away from these champions.
Pretty interesting because Malice is a Garen is a big power pick for him. So what that's telling me is Hawkthorne is not seeing Rumble in the top lane. They're not seeing Ornn in the top lane. They're seeing a Rumble mid and maybe an Ornn jungle. They are aware. They've maybe done the same research that you have and are not thinking that Malice is going to be. Well, they are willing to throw a ban Malice's way because they don't think that it's going to be available. I love to see the Thresh and I love to see the Alistar. I might have reversed the picks there. But I'm really interested to see how things shape up for Divine Ascension because we really don't know exactly where potentially three champions are going to be.
Yeah, I love the Thresh. I won't lie to you. I hate the Ashe. I do not like utility AD carries. Ashe is a champ that is so dependent on her team that
We'll
we
get to
get
it.
in a moo. Now, hold up. I'm going to wait for our production to let us know if this actually is a legitimate Amumu pick here in the jug. Preseason, he's really strong, but this makes sense. I guess there is some pick potential here with the Mumu, obviously the Ornn,
It was
and
correct.
that is going to be in a Mumu in the jungle. So
Okay.
Ornn top, Rumble mid. This is a very interesting composition from Divine Stitch Sapphire.
Yeah, and it really opens up a lot of aggression here from the mid laner from Hawkthorne Esports, who is a pretty well known AD mid laner who can really kind of take over a game. He has Arth with him to get some really early ganks. Rumble can get into a lot of trouble really, really easily, especially in the mid lanes. We haven't seen a lot in top lane in jungle. That's really interesting and odd. And I'm gonna have to. I want to see how it kind of plays out. You mentioned that Amumu is a lot stronger earlier on. We've seen a lot of nerfs to just tanks in general, tank items in general. Honestly, I'm really just kind of worried if he can get on top of someone.
That's not the problem. You have no pressure anywhere.
Yeah.
Tristana and Alistair is gonna beat this Ashe Thresh lane. Lucian, come on, it's Lucian in the mid lane. Let's be real about that for a second one time. Set versus Ornn, I mean, whatever. But the thing about this is where do you go? If you are a Mumu, where do you go? Are you gonna just try to make Set's life miserable? You're gonna get your Ornn ahead? Probably not. And this is just gonna be very, very strong for a guy like for Arth to say, okay, I have pressure mid and bot. Why don't I go ahead and take these dragons, put Divine Ascension on a timer, and I mean they do scale very well. You have the Ashe who does 2 damage. You got the Amumu who can stun. That's not damage. You have the Thresh who can throw a hook out.
You
That's
got
not damage.
Rumble. You got
Rumble, it can,
Equalizer.
it can it can slow you down. Rumble and Ashe can slow you down, so it'll take a little bit longer for
Curse
Hawkthorne
the
to hit
sad
those kills.
mummy into Equalizer. You're just stuck there all day long. Even Lucian can't get out of that until he flashes and uses cleanse. Now we do see Amumu in the top lane. I believe that we
Oh,
do have swapping rules.
uh-huh.
So we'll have to see when the timer gets a little bit farther along. There would be the Orange jungle. I mean, honestly, I would much rather see Orange top Amumu jungle or even Rumble jungle. I think the weirdest thing to me about this draft is that I think Divine Ascension really actually had Hawkthorne kind of uh, by the cojones, if you will. I mean, they were throwing bans at the top lane and the mid lane. They did not know where the Rumble, where the Ashe, where the Ornn was going. And I feel like they might have kind of misplayed a little bit of the 4 or 5 picks here. Not that I dislike the Thresh per se. It's just I feel like they maybe even the Thresh where the Ashe is, get a bit of understanding of what the bot lane's going to look like, and then you have this kind of really good, not counter pick, but uh change up the meta kind of pick where they, Hawkthorne only had 4 people locked in that didn't know where anything was going, and I think the immediate Lucian pick kind of just tells me that, oh, it's fine, I'm just playing against a Rumble, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you said a lot there to say these aren't very great picks out of Divine Citizen
Yeah. Okay.
Sapphire.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially their order.
yeah, in the order, the picks themselves weren't all that great, but even the champions, just in a vacuum, maybe not what you want to do when you go up a team like Hawthorne Esports, who is fast, strong, and potentially a significantly better team than you. You're going for things like Ashe and Amumu. Now, if we do see this not get swapped, I gotta see what Amumu top looks like. It must be something else. But you have a lot of utility, not a lot of damage. And yes, what you said about you're stuck and you're slowed into all those abilities. But if you're Lucian and Tristana, you're saying, okay, you have me stuck in here with you, but while I'm slowed down and can't get away, who's saying I'm trying to get away? Who's saying I'm leaving? We have the damage right here, and they should have advantages over their laners in this game. So they should be at item advantages and at least at dragon advantages. So I just don't see a comp that has Lucian and Tristana, and they kind of set up that an Elise and an Alistar can both give those 2 champions that scale very, or one will scale very well. The other will have extreme pressure in the mid lane early into the mid game. I don't know what the win con is other than hard win your lane and have a hard diff with Amumu wherever it lies.
Believe that they just did lock in the Amumu
Ah,
top lane. I
right.
think I think the timer. I mean, the timer ran out, I
I
believe.
can't see the timer myself at all.
Well, I think that we can check with production, but I think that it is definitely a top lane Amumu.
Okay.
So we're just gonna have to figure it. It is confirmed to be a top lane Amumu, and you're right. We're just gonna have to see what this is. I mean, you had mentioned the Orange jungle tech is weird. I think the Amumu top lane tech might be a little bit weirder. We're gonna have to see. I mean, you just mentioned. I mean, they've got this incredible wombo combo between the Ornn, between the Amumu, between the Rumble, even between the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Ashe and the box from Thresh. But I don't really feel like at least Tristana, Set, Lucian really need to team fight you terribly much. I mean, they can kind of get around and away with picks and skirmishes and fights, and the 5v5 that I feel like Divine Ascension I would even see desperately needs, not even just wants, could be avoided pretty quickly and effectively by Hawkthorne Esports. And we're going to have to see. I mean, even just kind of going down the list, there's really only 2 true damage sources. So even if you get the perfect wombo combo, I mean, you joked about Ash's 1 damage, but at the end of the day, if you have enough resistance built up, if you're kind of prepared for it and able to soak it up, she just won't kill you.
No. And you know what you mentioned about Hawkthorne Esports, whether they want to go as a pit comp, or even they could try to go 1-3-1 if they really decide to do all that. Divine Ascension Sapphire, I think they have a decent enough team fight comp, but I think the better shot is for them to play like a pit comp with the Crystal Arrow and a Mumu getting that stun off. Ornn is able to initiate. It's just not a great way. It's just not the greatest of pit comps. I don't like them in a 5v5. I don't really like them in as a pit comp, but I think that's their best chance of getting something done. But if you have to go ahead and invest all those resources, at least 3 champions to go take a Lucian in the side lane, then you have a Tristana sieging somewhere else for free with maybe a set or an Alistair babysitting, and that's going to be a big investment that you need to be able to punish even further by getting an objective on that same side of the map. I just don't think this is a great team fight, and it's an even worse pick comp.
Yeah, no, I do see what you mean. It really can be a pick comp, but it's really just not that incredible. I mean, it's odd because it has a lot of pieces of a lot of different team comps that I think have been kind of like pulled and mashed together. We have. I like the Rumble Ash. I'm
Uh-huh.
not I'm not too bad with the Ash Thresh. I'm not too bad with the Ornn Ash or even the Ornn Rumble, but just I think when all 5 of these pieces kind of knock together, there's a little bit of a dysenergy and even a little bit of just like a press R and hope that I'm a little bit kind of afraid of.
And that's what I spoke about, that you got to have a press R comp that is
Yeah.
pretty simple. And it's look, now I know you mentioned about StarCraft, there is not cheese. But if this Ornn jungle and a Mumu top, if this works against Hawkthorne Esports in game number 1, can we call this cheese? Can we call this one a
No.
cheese
It
comp?
is meta means most effective tactics available.
Uh-huh.
If the most
Oh,
effective tactics available are unknown and happen to be Orange Jungle, that ain't cheese.
no, you're right. The numbers don't lie. Wait. If we win this game, if Divine Ascension Sapphire wins this game with a Mumu top, Orange Jungle, that no name player in the bot lane with the Thresh, I can't stand Ash. Wait a minute, we might be ushering in a new wave of what League of Legends means to not just us here at Excellency, not just us here in NA. Means this could become a global phenomenon.
The reason we
Orange
lost
Jungle.
MSI is not having Orange Jungle. I think that's what you're kind of telling me right now.
That's a
And
point.
I
Yeah.
also got to say, if they win this match, there will be 100% win rate for Orange Jungle, which numbers don't lie. I mean, that's a perfect win rate. I've never had 100% at anything in my life. It will be an absolute stop. I'm actually really just kind of excited to see this. I got super excited as soon as I saw the Rumble. I was really hoping for the Rumble Jungle. They kind of threw me for a loop here. We'll just have to see how it goes. Shells, thank you very much for joining me on the AD, breaking down this game. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be fun. It's going to be weird. It's going to be Orange Jungle. We'll see how it goes. Divine Ascension Sapphire versus Hawkthorne Esports, brought to you by Zephyr and Dunsey.
I don't think Goose even knows what we're talking about.
Zephyr.
Oh,
Hi,
I didn't
everybody.
know.
We
Oh,
are here. Zephyr, hi.
my apologies. I had our producer completely muted on my end. I did not hear the call out at all. It wouldn't be Light League if it wasn't scuffed, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Zephyr. I'm bringing you the cast here tonight with my main man, Dunzy, as my color, as we take a look at, as you've all heard, Divine Ascension Sapphire against Hawkthorne Esports.
I'm excited. 2 5-1 teams. What is happening with these team comps? You heard it broken down by Shells and Hickory on the desk. Great job to those guys. But we have a Predator Ornn jungle.
Predator Orange Jungle. All right, this actually came through at the very last second. Malice and Premade decided to switch this one up. I mean, give big kudos to Malice. This guy is an absolute force in the top side, and if he can make it work, he can make it work.
Yeah, they also took Predator in the mid lane. Belby's going to be looking to roam by an early boots and perhaps affect those side lanes. I know it used to be really, really popular before he made his way into the jungle role, but man, a lot of cheese coming out in game one, even a Moo top. We haven't even gotten to that part, which I actually don't mind. It's pretty decent into melee matchups here.
No, absolutely. I think it's going to have its impact into the lane state, and it might find success into Zilla respectively, but how does he rotate that out further past the individual lane? I think Godzilla will definitely have the 1v1 advantage here for the first couple minutes, but then it'll definitely stem off as Malice finds his way onto some more tankier stats. I'm just curious, how does, Divine Ascension make use of this Amumu? It's a great engage tool. It's definitely going to make its way towards some of these major team fights. But does it give Wisdom and Belby the initial, kind of oomph that they need to get off their kind of weakened, damaged front?
They're going to be locking up all of Hawkthorne for an eternity between Curse of the Sad Mummy and the Forge God. It's just going to be so much CC layered on top of an equalizer that I think Wisdom should have lots of room to work with in these team fights.
Now, by the way, we talk a lot about this Moo because it feels so unorthodox, but the fact of the matter is there's also pre-made on this Ornn in the jungle, and yes, you'll have those Call of the Forge Gods coming through from the river or on these side lanes to set up for an initial knock into any given position he finds himself, or possibly with some of these respective lane ganks. But man, that makes for a heavy hitter in any respective gank.
Definitely, as we see, Arth tried to sneak into the bot lane, but gonna decide to take a reset here and go back for that first scuttle buff. He does get the amp tome on his first back. Man, Ornn full clears in the new jungle changes. I'm not even sure, like, does he just go for boots early for the Predator boost and look for some ganks? I'm not sure what his path is, what this Ornn jungle, when it spikes, what it's good for, but we're seeing it here in Light League.
As I say, we're seeing it on its way towards the bot side. Curious if he gets spotted out by that Tri-Bush War. It's definitely going to dissuade a lot of the pressure here from Counters and Matty Mice, who've definitely taken a lot of the control in pressuring this wave out. So he is spotted through and through, so Counters and Matty have clear backup potential, but there's the Lantern Cryptic Wisdom. Matty Mice goes in, big lead from Counters, but Mice is going to take that punishment as a result. The flash doesn't save him, but now Arthur Counters on the side. They look for Mega Adhesive, big flash on the end as he gets healed up to almost full. The bomb not quite there as Counter leaps forward, slowed though by Wisdom, and under turn he takes it as Belby from the rotation finds the kill. Now Heartstuck Brother going far too deep is going to go down as well, and Arth, the only one left alive from this trade, has to make his escape.
I thought that was such a good trap from Hawkthorne. They had Ornn on a ward and they had the numbers coming in, but unfortunately they weren't there in time. The 4 versus 3 wasn't enough, and Matty Mice got blown up so quickly. Alistar is not tanky yet. He hasn't even based. He's only level 3, so he got blown up so fast that it didn't matter you had the original numbers advantage. And man, Divine Ascension coming out swinging with their unorthodox picks. They're 3-0.
I don't even know if it was the picks, but the fact that counters couldn't finish the job there must feel absolutely awful. Went in so deep, and to find that kill respectively, you have to question, why are you going as deep as you are? Because you're in the midst here of Divine Ascension, and it just collapsed one step at a time. Great rotation, by the way, from Belby. It definitely was a good response to Hardstuck's rotation as well, but it definitely caught out the last embers of that team fight and secured it when it needed it.
Yeah, I am disappointed because Zilla had Cryo in the top lane. He was shoving in Malice that entire time. He could have teleported to that fight easily and helped his team in that 4 versus 3, but unfortunately he just decided to keep the pressure on. And I mean, right now, Ornn is picked once in the jungle, and he's got first blood 100% of the time.
Don't you dare start speaking of numbers. I will hear it from Shells for weeks on end. We'll be sitting week 9, and he'll be looking at that draft, and he'll be like,
where's the orange jungle?
Where's the orange jungle? It's 100% win rate. That's the tech, where it's been.
Yeah, I mean, Pre-Made, he knows something we don't know. Shells is in his ear whispering the numbers.
I will say, it was a luckier start, though, for Divine Ascension here. It wasn't something that they went for the hard engage. They definitely played well on the receding end as they backed up for their tower there, and I think it was more of a misstep on the side of Hawkthorne as they went just far, far too aggressive. I now want to see that lead transitioned further.
Yeah, they are going to actually pick up the Drake on the side of Hawkthorne here despite being down 3 kills. And they've even shrunk that gold lead down to 1,000 now, a little over 1,000. You can see the CS differential in both the top and especially in the mid lane. Hardstuck Brother is giving it to Belby right now. He put a full culling into the Rumble, trying to pick up a first plate here and just up 20 CS.
Good death sentence on the counters, but nothing to follow up as that TP, like he said, comes through. Zilla stepping into this one just dissuades any further pressure from Adhesive. He's going to lose a little bit of that lane-to-lane pressure there, give Malice some leeway back into this. I don't know if it's going to be enough for the Amumu to become a monster, but it definitely shows its end.
Yeah, this was unfortunate for Hawkthorne here. The teleport gank did not work out, and they already took the Drake, so there's no objectives here. Are they swapping this early? They're keeping Zilla down here. Are they going to put the bot lane up top?
I would not like that. I mean,
they're going.
At this point, you only put Wisdom and Adhesive into a better spot going into this lane for the further future, and Malice is already playing weak side, right? There's no reason for him to have that option. It'd be insane here after this back if they go for the top switch.
You know what it is? So they've taken the Drake, and what they want is they want to get objective control on the Herald now. You're right, I don't like it because Malice was already getting bullied, but look, you see Hardstuck Brother trying to get some vision. Elise is moving up towards this top half. They want this Herald.
No, I knew it. Okay, Malice goes for the back here, and now they're rotating top on the end. Matty Mice, though, and Arth pushing out this river here. Pre-Made's in a great spot to contest. He's got the Call of the Forge God available. He's looking low already from a great stun setup here from Matty Mice, but they back off. They feel a warning. They don't want to go too deep for it as they know they're going to be on this Herald in any given time soon.
Yeah, it's so funny. Wisdom and Adhesive, they swap back to the top side too. I feel like both sides are giving away their lane advantages that they're receiving here, but everyone loves the Herald objective apparently. So we see the bot lane up top 8 minutes in.
Whoa, counters going very hard on the Wisdom there. Not the damage that he expected. Definitely pushes him back in a terrible spot, especially if they're going to be contesting Rift here shortly. But Pre-Made and Belby are already in a great spot.
Yeah, I absolutely love the aggression as the culling comes down onto Belby here.
Culling, like you said, Zilla with the flash, throws it into the showstopper to find himself the start of that kill there. 45, big flash coming through. It's called Forge God as well. Malice, though, deep in this backline, finding a massive double curse and sad mummy as Pre-Made's looking lower and lower. Arth trying to stem this one up as that flash gets him out to safety. But overall here, it's looking like Hawkthorne take the advantage back into the river.
Yeah, there were 2 separate fights going on there. Thank you so much, J-Dog, for seeing all of that happening right now. But they were able to push Rumble out as well as the blue buff fight going on, what you were calling. And that's going to be a Herald for Hawkthorne. They pick up a kill. They're managing to take both objectives early so far. And look, they're going to swap. Once they take this Herald, the bot lane back down.
Whoa! Okay. Adhesive
no,
throwing
the
down.
equalizer.
Look at that equalizer gonna burn down. Belby flash forward, good knockup, but he's finding the kill on the mice anyways. Arth with the setup as the repel isn't going to save him. Both members go down at the hands of their choice to take Rift.
Yeah, so right now it's kills versus objectives. Divine Ascension 5 kills to 1. They're up over 1.3k right now. But the two objectives, they did manage to pick that up at the very last second. Belby tried to snipe that with an equalizer. You're not going to outsmite Arth right now at level 6. But man, the Conqueror Mumu is starting to come online.
I love Malice into this setup here. Zilla finally starting to fall off into that early 10-minute phase where you find Set being the most oppressive, and now Malice is in a perfect position to really show his stuff, especially into some of these team fights. We saw it last time around, disabling both of the members there with the Curse of the Sad Mummy coming into it. I'm curious to see what he can do further, but now up, down in the bot, try Bush double knock here. Counters comes back around to lay down the bomb onto Wisdom. Death Sentence does not land due to the spider setup, and Counters picks up that kill on the Wisdom.
Yeah, the ultimate into the bomb from Counters just did so much damage to Cryptic Wisdom, man. And they were baiting with the pink ward, right? So Maddie Micey sees this in the tri-bush. He's like, I'm just gonna go up here. I'm a silly little cow. I'm just mooing and trying to take a pink ward. And you know what? I got the spider behind me. But another team fight's breaking
the
out.
Forge God. Premade sets that one up, but
What?
it doesn't find the right direction. He can't even get the Bell's Breath going. Death Sentence for the pull on a Matty Mice, but he pops Belby back. He's gonna find the kill, but not at the sacrifice of this Rumble. So look at the ward placement on top of the lantern there to prevent Premade from getting out. Absolutely stunning team play there from Hawkthorne.
They love this. These two teams are not afraid at all. Despite being down in kills, Hawkthorne just take fight after fight, and they were losing a majority of those until now. They turn this one around, and they take the gold lead for themselves after all of that.
And I gotta tell you, it's not just their objective control, it's a great presence of team rotation. Yes, they had the first one go wrong here in the bot lane, but as they stem further and further, you're definitely seeing them put the pieces together, look a lot stronger, turning checkers into chess.
Malice gets thrown into the turret. Is Godzilla gonna pick up a kill here?
Haymaker comes down, looking very low. He does have that Curse of the Sad Mummy. I don't think he wants to waste it yet, but he's going to have to. He tried to get under turret before he actually had to make that commitment, but the knuckle down came back up. So what can you do?
Yeah, he gets out there by the skin of his teeth. If a Mumu even has teeth anymore, I'm sure teeth last a while, even if you're mummified, right?
I was gonna say teeth are probably gonna be one of those last given things, but speaking of last given things, Wisdom adhesive, sign your rights away, exhaust down, knock up, headbutt, big stun, not gonna hit that cocoon. Either way, Wisdom is gone. Arth picks that massive burst up as they look for adhesive now, but he's too fast. I think he's found his way to safety.
Yeah, I mean, that hawk shot kind of gave Cryptic Wisdom a little bit of security, but more fight is ensuing.
Never gonna catch a break here tonight, Dunzy, but I think Zilla gets his way out of this.
Almost up.
Yeah, Bandage Tosh comes through to get that stun off, and Premade's in a prime position to finish off this kill, stems it forward, and actually finds his way over to Mouse with no assist.
It's a solo kill for the Amumu top lane.
Now, adhesive in the mid lane, Death Sentence equalizer that burns ticking through. They don't hit the arrow, but it doesn't matter. Belby secures another kill here onto the hands of Hardstuck Brother.
I am just baffled right now by how active these two teams are. I'm thoroughly impressed. They just take fight after fight, no matter what. They're looking for CC. Here comes another one.
Hook misses. Matty Mice looking low, charging up that stun. Don't think it's gonna be completely available as the slow comes through. Belby stepping super far up. That turret going to be his death. It's that 1-for-1 after the end of that. And at the end of the day, these teams are still super even.
Oh my goodness, we're at over a kill per minute right now. It is so exciting. Anytime they see an opportunity, they're just going at each other's throats. We got two 5-1 teams, just a heavyweight slugfest right now, and Premade is in a difficult position. He might get caught out again.
Premade a little too far forward here. He's got to hit that blast cone, but it's not the right direction. Cocoon doesn't land, but the flash does jump over the wall from Counters here to land out that bomb as Premade's blasted back, and Counters follows up after the reset to find himself the kill.
Yeah, oh, my goodness. I don't know why he didn't take that blast.
Wait, Dunsey, hold the thought. Oh, Cocoon, Malice deep on the end, Adhesive rotating up, and he can't quite find that lantern. Now Brother encounters, chasing this one out. Equalizer coming down there as the hook does not land. Belby stems through there to put that one down, but no kills anywhere on the board.
Okay, I think we're going to catch a breath here. Man, we have Drake coming up here in, what, 2 minutes? So it's going to be third Drake here for Hawkthorne. They're looking for Soul Point on an incredibly bursty team, and it's an Infernal Soul, so that's going to be massive for team fighters. But here's a teleport coming in top lane.
Belby is nothing but a mist at this point. Counter's going to be the one to land that kill. Now on the side here, you've got Mal stemming out. What is that? Curse of the Sad Mummy pre-made in his backside. Trying the 1v1 counters as Arth sets up. Doesn't land that cocoon when necessary, but a knockup from Mouth is going to slow this fight to a halt as Wisdom and Adhesive finally arrive. Everyone here from Hawkthorne looking super duper low as we see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow double stun come out. Shut down for Wisdom, turning his attention to Mice. Finds another kill deep in that back. Malice picks up the response on Zilla. Now Arth and Brother looking worse for wear. But the burst is absurd. Death Sentence come through as Malice steps up to the plate, tries to get the tears off, but he still can't find the kill. It's going to be the 3 for 3 overall, and Arth and Heartstuck Brother take priority over the Rift.
Yeah, Divine almost turned that team fight around. They had Ash and Thresh coming up. Mega Adhesive was just a little bit too late, and Cryptic Wisdom couldn't find the right spot, but now the equalizer's on Heartstuck Brother. What is happening?
Belby steps up, puts the equalizer down, and says you can take 1 rift, but you can't find your way onto 2 there. Both the jungler and mid laner here from Hawkthorne going to be backing off as they manage to secure that one out for themselves.
In all of this, we have not talked about any of the kind of game state themes, such as even the items. Take a look. Elise has 10 stacks on the Jais, but here comes more fighting.
Is it a fight? He's already gone, Dunsey. He's already gone.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk through those insta kills. Counters absolutely blows Cryptic Wisdom up. Tristana is not balanced when she jumps on an 80 carry. Double Kraken coming out from the double 80 carries of Hawkthorne, and they need it. You're looking at an Amumu and an Ornn in the face. 2 of the most massivest of massive tanks in League of Legends. Yeah, they're just Goliaths here, and they're gonna need to be that front line. And so I like the Kraken pickups here from the double 80 carries of Hawkthorne. But it's just all over the place, right? It doesn't matter when you take those team fights, they just want to fight.
I will say everyone is looking to fight, but you still can rely on one major thing here. Hawkthorne definitely has a pace of control when we look at objectives once again. Granted, it's only 1 turret for themselves, but in terms of Drake and Rift control, they've almost picked up nearly everything here in the last 18 minutes. And in the next 4, you're going to be seeing that last and final soul pop up here for Infernal. That's going to be a major point of contention. That's going to force a fight to happen, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and they absolutely need it, because as stinky, Shells calls it, of a comp, as cheesy of a comp that Divine has, I do think that they scale well. The Amumu in this really big skirmishy type of fight with Conqueror is going to be extremely strong. They're going to take the turret with this Herald that they managed to pick up, and now Divine are the ones who are on the attack, but here comes the set flank.
Set on the side, not quite going to find the engage he wants. Good slow from Wisdom with the Lantern to pull him back out. I think, yeah. I was about to say, looking like Divine Ascension Sapphire, they just find their way to safety here.
Yeah, I really like that move. They've regrouped, they've recouped. At first it was them who were on the offensive, but now they're ready. Here comes another fight!
Equalizer down, hook as well. You've got the Forge God coming through as they knock up Matty Mice. He's taken out into the hands of Belby. The Shellstopper not going to save Zilla. Heartstuck Brother, the next one to look forward here as he dashes back. Premade's got to exit out of the fight there as he can't take it any further. But still, 2 major kills find their way over here for Divine and sets this team up for further success.
That's what I'm talking about. The power of 5 on the side of Divine Ascension. massive, big, beefy boys in the front, and the ultimate usage in these team fights are just so important for Divine Ascension. I'm glad that they are able to back off and reel it in after they use those team fight skills, because that is what their win con is made out of, right? They need to look for the wombo, they need to look for the big engage. That's how they're gonna win. Once it gets too long and you let these 80 carries come in at you like Chris Wisdom's looking at them.
You've got a big setup there from counters, but he doesn't quite find that last auto when he needed it there. And so Cryptic manages to get out, and that's one big thing you definitely were about to say. If you have major carries like counters find their way onto this backline and take out people like Velby and Cryptic before the team fight can really activate, that's going to be the shutdown.
Yeah, Mega Adhesive does throw the lantern over to Belby, gonna fish for a hook, but man, counters is just the guy right now. You need to look for him in team fights, and if you're able to take him out, it's gonna be tough for Hawkthorne to be able to continue that fight. He is the #1 priority target. You're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at him.
Forks, spoons, whatever it may be, it's definitely not landing here. The plate is left cleaned. On the other end here, you do have the rest of Divine Ascension looking like they're about to find their way back towards grouping up. Baron's on the board, and Drake is only 1 minute away. Like I said earlier, major soul contest counters, walking in pretty aggressively onto Wisdom there. Doesn't quite find the kill. He's able to get the leap out as that bomb does reset. The box gets the slow off of Matty Mice, but Wisdom cannot step up for any further damage, and as a result, pre-made, the front goes down. Art steps up, counter leaps forward. Mega Adhesive is theirs, but Belby with the massive equalizer to continue the burn as Massive came through on the side here. 2 major kills to stem forward as Zilla can't even make the escape, even with the haymaker. It's gonna be a triple cleanup there on the side of Divine Ascension.
And that's going to be a very, very easy call for Divine Ascension. They pick up this massive objective. I don't know if it's worth it. Drake is up in 40 seconds. Are they going to be able to do this and then back and get to the Inferno so on time? I don't know, man. It's going to be a coin flip. I think Hawkthorne, they just went straight to the Inferno, Drake. That's their soul.
I think that's the objective, but it doesn't look like that's their move. You already can see on that mini-map the rotation here from Hawkthorne. Heartstuck Brother, the first one to the plate here, taking it into Belby, actually finding the shutdown, now pre-made on the side, showing why he's the big boy you so dearly love, finds that knockup, and takes out Brother on the side. The Baron is ticking down, Mega Adhesive and Malice are so low! Woo, he's gonna go down. Mouse on the side there before the end, and pre-made is stunned out. Curious if he can make the escape when needed. Finds his way to the blast cone. I think that's all but it there. Baron's found, but I think Drake is lost.
These two teams are a match made in heaven. Yes, they do pick up the Baron. I told you though, man, you gotta look at the objectives on the map. You gotta look at what's important right now. And Soul for this comp on the side of Hawkthorne is more important to you. You need to deny that. Now, it was a bit of a heat check for counters, right? He jumped in. This was about 2 minutes ago at this point, when you're before that Baron take. Counters throws himself, just throws his body. He's an 80 carry at Divine Ascension. Unfortunately, Divine Ascension missed every skill shot on their side. The arrow went wide, the hook went wide. It wasn't until Belby came in with the equalizer and said, okay, you're gonna do a heat check, counters, calm down. I'm bringing the heat. He just laid down the red carpet and melted the team. Oh my goodness. Somehow Divine Ascension have a gold lead, but they've given up the soul.
They give up Soul, but they find their way onto Baron. Now counters on the side, starting his aggressive tendencies back onto Belby. Good response from Malice, though, to stem him away, and that's an incredible double knock up there on the Orin. Now major stun for Matty Mice, and Zilla takes both of these major tanks out of the fight here as they continue to push this wave down the mid lane.
Hawkthorne need to stop fighting. They feel so confident. They feel so strong. They have Infernal Soul. But Hardstuck Brother has not been in any of these team fights. You know that he's down there splitting. He's an 80 carry, not going to be able to teleport into a team fight very effectively. He does manage to take a turret, but now, what's he going to do? I mean, the rest of the team is on your inhibitor, knocking on your door.
Belby steps back into it, and it's going to be the minions that take him out, but he prevents the split from further occurring. It's only counters and Arth here on the front as Zilla and both Matty Mice finally find their way back up, but they've lost Inhib to boot.
Oh my goodness. it's only, what, May right now? But once we get to, oh, here we go. Malice, you're in
Malice,
trouble.
you're dead. You're dead, buddy. There's nothing left for you there, bud.
He's alive!
It's one auto. All right, one auto.
I mean, it just was a roller coaster ride and this entire game is just a roller coaster ride. Even the stacks on Arth, he's down to 6 now. He was up high with those stacks, and gosh, the itemization, the pace of gameplay, everything, the compositions, they're just off the wall right now.
If this was a description of two boxers in the ring, you'd have a matchup between the infighters, the palooza of fights to occur here. Absolute heads butting, duking it out, fist for fist. That's what you're seeing occur here on Light League tonight. And in this game, I can't even begin to tell you who's going to find success.
Yeah, these guys are the boxers where you don't want to get into the ring with because you know they're so clinically insane that they're basically
They'll bite your ear off.
Want the pain. I mean, there's Belby, nice hidden behind the
Oh,
wall.
good hook, equalizes. Ooh. Enchanted Crystal Arrow just barely misses, and a good stack of culling onto Belby's gonna bring him low. Showstopper manages to find out, but the burn on Hardstuck finds the kill as well. It's that 1-for-1 in the last given moment.
That was so cool to see, just the flame spitter, but here comes more fighting. Godzilla's caught out.
He's good, he's good. He's definitely playing it very aggressive. He steps into that one with no care in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Hardstuck Brother tried to show...
Oh, Malice steps in, Cocoon stun, big knockup, looking low, but he hits the Quadra! Curse of the Sad Mummy, pre-made deep in the backline, Cryptic Wisdom trying to step it out, good hook on to Unstoppable there. Pre-made finally taken back, his counter leap forward, still gonna be taken out as Cryptic Wisdom lines it all up. Divine Ascension Sapphire find an incredible team fight in the last brink neck moment.
What is happening? Malice got thrown into the team and he gets a quadra stun on the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Everything, the wombo lined up perfectly there for Divine Ascension. The team fights are just nonsensical right now. I cannot believe what I'm witnessing. These two teams are so well matched and paired for one another. I want to see more of this. I'm so happy we have 2 more games tonight. This is insane.
I will say it definitely plays towards the favorite in terms of comp here. When you have the 5 group power from Divine Ascension Sapphire and they're on a kiltered sense of, you know, correctly hitting what they need to, it feels like they are truly unstoppable. Oh, but hold the thought here. Hardstock Brother going to put an end to the miss, but he can't quite match the damage of Belby. Absolutely shredded up there in the top side.
I just, both sides, both Lucian and Rumble wanting to take that fight is just nonsense. They should not be wanting to clash heads. There's nothing that they're fighting over. Rumble just took an objective. He should be wanting to get out. Hardstick Brother should not be chasing that. Instead, it's just tons of damage being thrown at one another. And unfortunately for Hardstuck, he comes down on the short end of the stick during that fight. He's going to be 3-6 now. But they are still very dangerous. They still have Infernal Soul. They need to find a longer team fight from a distance and not get womboed. Wait out those abilities from Divine Ascension. Don't take the 4v5 fight. Hardstuck Brother's been in the side lane so
And he's
often.
strong, too.
Yeah.
If he finds his way onto Wisdom or Belby, you know, respectively with some CC to pair, he actually has a chance to kind of start wiping this team. But like you've said, big wombo, big combo, the fronts here, the big boys that we've brought up several times are making this such a tough decision for Hawkthorne, who should really easily have a good pace of flow into this. But at this point, it's looking pretty dire as the Elder's only going to be up here in the next 20.
I'm not surprised by anything. Divine Ascension is somehow going to get this Elder Drake and lose the fight. I'm calling it right now, man. Like, it's going to be something crazy.
That's a big call, man.
It's going to be... I mean, they're on the Elder Drake right now, and instead...
They're grouped as 5, Dunzy. That's all they need.
Yeah.
That's all they need.
Here's the wombo setup. This is Divine's time.
On the side, you've got Brother. He's definitely looking for that flank that we discussed, but he's opting to group back up with his team at the last given moment. Look at him, like 2 football squads lined up at the scrimmage, just waiting for the take here. Elder is started up, big engage from Mouse for another quadra stun, and everyone is just obliterated. Absolutely incredible engage there from Malice, finding the needle in the haystack.
Amazing.
He didn't even need to use his flash to find such an amazing engage. I mean, it's just comp difference, dude. Infernal Soul, who cares? Pre-made was right. I'm just gonna scale up. I think that they could have just ended this game if they pushed down mid lane instead of taking the Elder Drake, but instead they're gonna play it safe. They want both the Elder and the Baron. Rumble's gonna take the inhibitor. Everything is in Divine's basket right now. You need to reset and make a final push, but it's gonna be dangerous underneath double turrets on the Nexus.
Mice stepping through there. I don't think he'll find a kill anytime soon on Belby, but I don't think it guarantees it. Nope, they do find Inhib, but more importantly, they've secured both Elder and Baron into the face of Hawkthorne. I mean, I had my doubts about this team coming into it. They didn't look too great in these last 2 weeks, but the comp has prevailed, Dunsey. They found their step, they found their pace, and man, are they looking just swag.
I gotta tell you, I had Divine Ascension lower than I think 2 other analysts, and I was not about this 5-1 team. I thought they were playing a weak schedule coming in, but I am now a Divine Ascension fan. This game 1 has made me a believer. Taking down our number 2 power ranked team, Hawkthorne Esports, possibly. I shouldn't call it yet. I'm not gonna sing yet.
Yeah, don't call yet. Don't sing until the cows come home, baby. You still got one last team
right now. They need to use this Elder Drake buff right now. Look for the team fights. Man, it's gonna be tough for Hawkthorne. Matty Mice on the side.
A good hook to start this one off. He's going to be forced to flash over here. He's going to recoup with his team. Hopefully that's not a make or break flash, but at this given point, everything is. They step up, wave into turret range here. Equalizer in a great spot to start the burn off, forcing everyone back into Fountain as they turn their attention to these first and last Nexus turrets. Big knockup engage from Pre-Made as you see that showstopper come back into the fight. It's going to be a single Curse of the Sad Mummy as Malice continues to forward. Counters gets the response, but Mice and Brother are ripped to shreds as they approach this team fight. Arth, the only one left alive, is going to be deleted. And against all odds, Divine Ascension Sapphire finds success in game 1.
Incredible. I am so baffled right now at what we just witnessed. Give me more. Inject Divine Ascension into my veins.
It was messy, it was nasty, but it happened. They came through, their comp activated, and eventually these guys managed to just look just unbeatable. Once Malice came through with those Curse of the Sad Mummies in 2 major fights, I could not see any further success here.
My blood pressure can't handle this. We gotta throw it to Hickory and Shells to break that one down.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a fantastic cast of what was honestly a pretty interesting draft. My name's Hickory. I'm your host. I'm joined once again by my analyst Shells. Here's the thing, bud. Orange Jungle has a 100% win rate in the Excellency Light League. And you are muted as well. My friend.
I actually am muted, and
Okay,
I
there
am
we go.
back. I have a 100% mute rate coming out of games as well on the AD. And look, you said it right there. Ornn does have a 100% win rate so far in the Excellency Light League. So you know what that means? Everyone watching right now, bring out the Ornn in your solo queue games. Your teammates will thank you for it. Point them to this VOD. Point them to this VOD right here. And I mean, we saw it right there. Pre-made. Look crazy. He was early in the game. He was going wild. I mean, even everyone on the squad, even Malice with the Amumu. I can't speak about how strong the Amumu was in this game and how, out of nowhere, the Ashe was actually a real champion piloted by Cryptic Wisdom. But my mind just keeps going back to Ornn in the jungle running Predator for some reason. I don't know. I have no clue.
What were you feeling, like Aftershock or something like that?
I mean, I don't know what are you going out.
Okay, so this is a matchup between probably the second best team in the game in the league. What I think might be a third best team in the league. If we kind of look down the rest of the standings, you actually had Divine as sixth place. We got Zephyr with fourth and Dunsey with fifth. Really kind of all over the place. Literally 3, 4, 5, and 6. But they just took a pretty impressive win. Now, not necessarily a clean win, but a strong win against what's decided upon as a 2-3 team.
Yeah, so this is part of what my breakdown was of this Divine Ascension team. I said that the comps they're picking, the kind of, if I don't know if it's cheese anymore, but the kind of unorthodox, the kind of picks that you definitely know that the opposition has never seen one time in a scrim in their entire life. Tell me what team has prepared for a Mumu top in orange jungle? Not too many, right? So you have a bit of an advantage just with how unpredictable you can be. There's no way to actually predict how to play around these champions. So you come into the game a little bit blind. And I thought that was maybe cheese against some of these weaker teams or what we perceive to be weaker teams in our league. But they've proven here in this one game that being unpredictable, having these comps that make you have to think and pull back memories from 3-4 years ago of, okay, this might have worked in season 6, maybe. Now you have to think about how this works in season 10 and season 11 actually, and it's hard to actually come through with a game plan on the fly. When remember in draft, we're thinking, okay, we have the Ornn and the Rumble. We thought Rumble B1 was going to be the jungler. Then we see all these other things come out, and it's like, okay, we don't know what's going on. Hawkthorne is banning out other champions, then not knowing where Mumu was going, not knowing where Ornn was going. No one knew where these champs were going until we got onto the Rift, and it's very hard to play games that way, and that could be a strength moving forward.
Yeah, I just double checked with our stats team, and they confirmed that Belby has now played 7 different champions on 7 different games. You get a bit of a champion ocean kind of opening up for him, and that kind of caters to that unpredictability that you just mentioned. I mean, if you do not have any idea what this mid laner is going to play, of course, it makes really, really hard to ban him out, to draft against him, but it also gives a lot of opportunity for the rest of his team, like picking up this orange jungle, this Amumu jungle, top lane. I got to say, I doubt we're going to see it again. I feel like it'd be a little bit impressive to pick it twice in a row, and I also find it pretty impressive for Hawkthorne not to ban out one of these champions.
Let's be real. I don't think it was particularly the champions that won this game. This was Hawkthorne playing a little bit disrespectfully. We're looking at Tristanas and Lucians playing like they're Trundles, playing in melee range and not caring. I know for a fact I saw Heartstuck Brother get soloed out by Belby on that Rumble 3 times in a row, and he walked into all those engages. He initiated every single one of those engages. One at the inhibitor bot side. There was one in the top lane at T1 top for Hawkthorne side. I mean, there's numerous times where you see Harsher Brothers say, okay, I want this fight. I want to prove to you that Lucian is a better champion than Rumble. Didn't really happen that way, and then Tristana jumping in doing I don't know what, just saying I was strong in lane and I'm gonna be strong all game and I'm gonna prove it no matter what. Just a difference. I don't know.
I mean, it felt like a little bit of a team disrespect. In fact, also where especially in that final fight, I think Zephyr pointed out that there was no flash coming out of Malice in the top lane with Amumu. He didn't need to. The entire team of Hawkthorne was grouped up waiting for that sad Amumu, the curse of the mommy, to just rip them to shreds, and they were very, very disrespectful of the fight. I do also have another update from our stats team. This was actually the second game of Ornn Jungle tonight. It was played also by CB Clockwork and also has a win. So maybe, as I mentioned, most effective tactics available. Meta is looking like some Ornn Jungle. 100% win rate in the Light League. Maybe we'll just see it. Now I just kind of want to see Hawkthorne play it and see what happens.
Said something there that I have to disagree with. You said maybe some Ornn in the jungle could be the meta. I think only Ornn jungle should be the meta here in the Excellency Light League. It's proven. It's not just a one-off. It's not just an outlier. 2 games is a huge sample size to say this is what we all play now. We're all gonna pick Ornn. It's B1, R1, and you have to play it. You have to either play it or ban it. Ornn in the jungle, Predator. I mean, I'm a believer now.
I don't know about the Predator.
I've seen
I'm
it
not
once.
so sure about the Predator personally. I mean that Call of the Forge God is a little bit more range than I think most people recognize. You don't really need to be walking at them. But yeah, I mean I'm down for it. I know you're a numbers guy. It's got 100% win rate, 2 picks. Ergo, it is therefore the best pick in the entire league. I mean, like, I'm looking at some of our stats here. I've got like Seraphine, 97% pick ban, 19 picks. Silas, 55% pick ban. Screw that. I want to see 15 picks, number 2 Ornn by really the end of the night. I think we got plenty of games to knock it out. We can have 3 picks right here.
Yeah, we definitely have enough time to go ahead and get this Ornn, and it deserves to be played some more. I mean, we saw how effective it was early, mid, and late. There was Wombo combo to be built. I mean, now, when you pick an Ornn in the jungle, you kind of have to build your comp around it, and that's what we saw here from the Sapphire squad, and it just works. Now, your opponents have to help you out a little bit in these engages. They have to help you out a little bit when they're jumping into you and staying into you and allowing themselves to get CC chained. But we'll see how this all works out for them in this next game.